Okay, you know the feeling. Your phone starts buzzing, and immediately your heart starts racing, your palms get a little sweaty, and you just stare at the screen. You're not going to answer, you're just going to wait for that sweet, sweet relief of silence. If this sounds a little too familiar, well, you are definitely not alone. This feeling actually has a name, and it turns out there are some very real reasons why so many of us dread that ringing phone. This has got to be one of the most common text messages of our time, right? It's basically the universal code for, I absolutely saw you call, I did not want to answer, but I feel like I have to acknowledge your attempt to reach me. It's our polite, go-to move for redirecting a live conversation back to the safety and comfort of texting.
I mean, really think about it. It's this sudden, totally unscheduled demand for your immediate attention. If you've ever felt that jolt of anxiety, that feeling like your peace has just been invaded, you're not being dramatic. You're not being antisocial. There's a real psychological reason behind that feeling. So this feeling, this very specific kind of anxiety around phones, it actually has a name. It's a recognized phenomenon, and it explains exactly what's going on in our heads.
It's called telephonophobia. Yeah, it's a real thing. Now, you won't always find this as a standalone clinical diagnosis, but it is widely recognized as a major component of social anxiety symptoms. At its core, it's just that deep-seated reluctance to get on a phone call, whether you're the one dialing or the one being called.
So the crucial thing to get here is, it's not just about being shy. For a lot of people, especially introverts, a phone call is this immediate, high-energy drain on their social battery, usually with zero warning. It's the live, totally unscripted nature of it all that really triggers the dread. You're on the spot, and that can be incredibly stressful.
And if this is all sounding incredibly familiar to you, well, there might be a reason for that. It seems like this particular anxiety is way more common among certain age groups.
What's so fascinating is the huge shift in how we even perceive the phone. For older generations who grew up with it as the main new tech, the telephone was a lifeline. It was the primary way to connect with people instantly over a long distance. But for a lot of millennials and Gen Z who grew up with things like texting and DMs, an unexpected call often feels less like a connection and more like a jarring interruption.
This analogy just hits the nail on the head. It perfectly captures that feeling of intrusion into your personal digital space. I mean, you get to manage your texts and DMs, right? You respond when you have the mental energy. A phone call, though, it demands your full attention right now, whether you're ready or not.
So why does it feel so high stakes? What is actually happening in our brains during a call that makes it so stressful? Well, it turns out there's a real scientific reason our brains find it so uniquely challenging.
80%. Just let that number sink in. That's roughly how much of our communication is nonverbal. And on a typical phone call, all of that, just gone.
You can't see the other person's body language. You can't read their facial expressions. So when there's a pause, is that silence because they're thinking or because they're annoyed? Is their tone of voice sarcastic or genuine? Your brain has to work overtime trying to fill in all these massive gaps. And this overprocessing is exactly what leads to that mental exhaustion we feel after a stressful call.
Oh, this is so relatable, isn't it? To avoid stumbling over your words or completely forgetting what you need to say, so many of us will literally rehearse a call or write down a little script. All that mental preparation for what might be a simple 2-minute conversation, like ordering a pizza or checking on a store's hours.
Okay, so we get the problem. It's real, it's exhausting. The good news is, if you're tired of that anxiety spike, there are some really practical ways to manage it.
So one great strategy is what they call gentle exposure. You start with really low-stakes calls, maybe even ones where you don't have to talk to a person, like an automated line to check store hours. Another game changer is just normalizing the text-first rule. A simple, hey, got a minute to talk text can completely remove that element of surprise and dread. And finally, a big part of it is reframing your mindset. It's just a conversation. It's not some high-pressure performance you can ace or fail.
This analogy really just sums it all up, doesn't it? A text message is like a letter. You've got time, you can write your thoughts, edit them, proofread them, and send it off when you're ready. A phone call, well, that's like being shoved onto a stage for a live improv show with no script. It's no wonder so many of us would rather just stay backstage.
Honestly, the most important takeaway here is this. If you dread phone calls, you're not broken. You're not antisocial. It just means you prefer a different, more controlled way of connecting with people in a world that luckily is full of options. And you know what? That is perfectly okay.
So I'll just leave you with this question to think about. What's your go-to move for avoiding a call? Do you watch it ring until the very last second just so you can immediately text back, "So sorry I missed this"?
The stories are often universal, and it's just a good reminder that if you do this, you are definitely not the only one out there.